324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. You can also find them by going to the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse for their drive-through location, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, where I have been with the gentleman that's going to be joining me in just a second. You know, in the Cafe Kubal studios, too, we keep it smelling good and we keep it warm. Little space heater that I'm going to have near me today with my Witty Wicks candle. So shout out to Witty Wicks, 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York. We appreciate you watching and listening all around the world. YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /Wake Up Call DT. On Facebook.com /LiveNowDT, and on the homepage of WakeUpCallDT.com, where the MixLR feed is embedded here on the broadcast today inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. 3 fantastic coaches all here in Central and Upstate New York. We're going to start things off with Jason Leone, Oswego State Lakers men's basketball head coach. 300th career win happened this year, plus more, so we're at 300 plus at this point. And another SUNYAC championship. And now they're hosting the round of 64 and round of 32 in the NCAA Division III tournament. So a lot of great things happening in Oswego. And I am so gracious for Jason Leone, more than anything, to have him as a true friend. So we'll talk with him in just a second. At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll be joined by Bethann Shapiro-Ord, who joins us from the Binghamton University Bearcats ahead of the America East Division I women's basketball tournament. And Levell Sanders, whose final regular season game for Binghamton is today, and then they'll head into their America East tournament for Division I men's basketball. So a lot of great stuff coming up, and it's on the hours. We're extending Wake Up Call today so we can get all these coaches on. So we have 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m. all joining you here on Wake Up Call, where sports meets life. And first and foremost, like I said, Oswego State Lakers men's basketball head coach, 300-plus career wins, SUNYAC back-to-back, and now hosting the NCAA tournament. Not only in the tournament, but hosting it. Jason Leone, one of the best, and as I said in our post about this broadcast, not only a fantastic coach, a better human being. With that being said, we bring him in. Mr. Leone, how we doing?
Hey, Dan, how are you? Thanks for having me on. Thanks for all the kind words. I got to tell you, I love this. I love the studio. I hadn't seen it in a while because you and I always meet in person.
Yeah.
I like all the memorabilia there. Pretty cool setting there.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. So we have our digital board now. There's other things that may be coming as well, but we have Christy Martin, who just got inducted into Hall of Fame, used to be on the card with Mike Tyson. She's here.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of Witty Wicks things, Bryan and Stratton College. So we got the Finns, we got the Syracuse pillows from Witty Wicks. We have my championship trophies from, you'll appreciate this one. I have 3 from fantasy football, but the last time that I was allowed age-wise to play in our Hoop Mania basketball camp out in Marcellus, we ended up winning the championship, and it's the only time that I was ever voted MVP, and it was indoor and outdoor basketball. So this is my MVP season of 1999, and I feel like our championship trophy should be massive. It's a little baby, but I still love it just as much. And so I think you'd appreciate that. Back in the day, I was the MVP, so it was a good feeling.
I've won MVPs before, not because of the way you would think, but I was such a bad defensive player.
Yeah.
If my team would lose, the winning team would vote me MVP because I was so bad defensively. I would cause a lot of baskets for the other team. My high school coach would tell you that lovingly.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? So
I feel that.
I know all the things I used to get screamed at about with how bad a defender I was. So it's served me well as a coach now, because they say sometimes the worst defensive players can be really good defensive coaches. They know all the stuff they were held accountable for as players. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So all those MVPs paid off for you because now you know exactly how to coach and what you need to do. So I like that.
I don't know about that, but anyways, yeah.
So Jason Leone here with us, Oswego State Lakers men's basketball head coach and a very good friend. Jason, this season has been an incredible one. I know there's more life to be had, and the season has just begun, in its own way. But bring me through. We've talked about it throughout the year and going into it, but just how this regular season into the SUNYAC has shaped up as you reflect on it and get ready for the NCAA tournament. How would you describe the road to the NCAA tournament this year?
Well, every team and every season takes on its own personality, Dan. This one was no different.
Yeah.
We, as a coach, you try the best to identify little things that you want to address with your team, almost like pre-problem solving, right? And one of the things from being fortunate enough to have a veteran team coming back that had achieved at a high level the year before, the word that comes to mind is complacency, and you're trying to guard against that.
Yeah.
And the reality is that whether it's fair or not, we'll be judged. You get this feeling we would be judged based on what happens at this time of year. The problem with that is you can't fast forward the season from October 15th. These guys are working out on their own when they get on campus in August, but you can't just fast forward to the last week in February, first week in March. You've got to go through the peaks and valleys, the adversities and the euphorias, and manage that stuff. The team has to form, it's like molding a piece of clay, and you've got to rely on kids, you know what I mean? And they've got to take the reins, and you've got to empower them. As a coach, most coaches are wired where they would prefer controlling as many things as they can control. It's just the way a lot of our personalities are, and to relinquish that and to empower the players and try to, the best you can, guide them more than anything towards things that can go wrong. So that was a big part of this season, and I think what I've learned is that from this team is that we've got such strong leadership, player leadership. Their best quality is how much attention they've given me. You know what I mean? So, like, in other words, what I mean by that is, like, when I talk to them, I truly feel like I have their attention and they're listening. So they really were good with that. They put a lot of time into player development.
Yeah.
And then we developed our bench as the year went on. And those 3 or 4 things really played a role into a long journey that resulted in the euphoria of winning our league again for the 6th time in 11 years. It's an incredible accomplishment. I was telling our student media, I took over a Cadillac when I got here. I had, 2 exceptional players and a group of seniors, and this was not a fixer-upper. But I also didn't know after 11 years we'd win our league 6 times, not for any other reason than how much respect I have for our league and how many coaches do an exceptional job in our league. It's just hard at our level to have and sustain that type of success. So I'm just really happy for the people around our program and so many administrators that have given us proper resources, and my assistant coaches that have been with me and done so much of the recruiting and player development and things behind the scenes, and obviously the players, the people that believed in our vision and decided to come to Oswego State and have what I think that I've witnessed is a very positive experience playing in our program.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up so many points here with Jason Leone, the head coach of the Oswego State Lakers men's basketball team. And, one of the things that there's a lot of areas I want to go to that you mentioned, but one of them being the fact of you felt like this team listened, that they were paying attention. And to do that in today's world, not just as a coach, but in general, it's difficult because people's attention spans. I mean, the sport of baseball is looking to mutate itself because people can't focus. And, so when you look at being a coach, being a leader, being a mentor, being a teacher, and needing your message to be carried through, and for them to not just hear it, but retain it, remember it, and use it, how have you seen the team evolve in retaining that, bringing back a veteran team, bringing back success on your team? Do you think that made it kind of easier because the message was relayed last year? Or how quickly, I guess is what I'm saying about this season, do you feel that your message was heard and kind of vibrated through your team? Was it early on, or was it something that you had to keep working at to say, I need you guys to really keep this information and use it when you need it?
That's a good question. I told my wife, I think in the first semester, I didn't think we were better than we were last year. I didn't have their attention like I had hoped. We were a little banged up at a couple of positions, like a lot of teams. You go through that. I'm not going into an injury excuse or talk here, but we had a couple of guys that were not playing through challenging injuries like I had hoped. These were not major injuries. They were bumps and bruises, and they allowed it to deter their play a little bit. I thought it was hurting us. And one of the things with our model in recruiting, typically we're going to have a new guy that's a transfer from a higher level that we're trying to incorporate into our team. We had 2 of them this year. And the reason we go to that model is, like, quite frankly, it's hard for us, especially in the front court, to get impact players. Our program has been probably 85 to 90%, traditional 4-year students. But when you recruit the way that we do, where we're consistently going to have at least one transfer in our lineup that's playing major minutes, we're incorporating that person and trying to rewire that person to our systematic approach to the game. And there's going to be lumps that go with that. So we dealt with some of those things. And, we were a different team in the beginning because we weren't as dominant defensively, but you could tell we had a lot of upside offensively. So we had to figure out where our balance was going to be in terms of getting to be that complementary type team where we could win on offense and defense. And that took some time. Obviously, we had a tough loss at Nazareth the second week of the season. They're a good team, but we had a 9-point lead in that game in the last 6 minutes that we relinquished after being down, I think, 16. So that was a tough loss. And then we played Brockport at home and scored 47 points. So it's probably the worst game that one of my teams has played. And Brockport had a lot to do with that, but that was probably one of the worst games we've played in my tenure. So every team gets to these points where you have these segments or moments in your season where it's, you got to sit down and really critically examine, and you got to put some pressure on some people to start changing. We got back from break. Division III is a unique scheduling model where we are off for 2 weeks. The kids came back, and I literally don't know what happened, but a switch got flipped. We went to Utica University's tournament, played Emmanuel, who I think ended up winning 20 games. We beat them by 26. It was a really good win. Turned around, beat Utica, who was in the NCAA tournament, won 22 or 23 games. We beat them by 20 on their home court. And we were off. We turned around after that, played St. Lawrence, who made the NCAA tournament, beat them by 33 up there. And I don't know what happened. The players, it wasn't me. The players decided they were going to turn the Jets on, I guess. We just got on this roll, and it's been impressive to watch. The players genuinely deserve all the credit. And we just took off, and guys started playing better. We had guys off the bench that were not in the mix or not playing well the first semester that have now been a major part of our success. And obviously our veteran guys just have gotten better and played really well.
And Jason, you spoke about the bench a couple times here, and I wanted to go there in the development of the bench, because a team that wants to have success can have success with their starting 5, right? Maybe 5, maybe 6, and they can find a way to some wins, maybe get themselves into a tournament. But it's that bench play that typically you see at any division. And then, when you look at, even moving on professionally, that help from the bench, those bench points, bench defense, bench minutes that allow a starter to come out and not have too much of a drop in performance and in talent is obviously a huge part. The bench doesn't get enough love, I think, when we talk about scheming in basketball. What can you say about the development of this bench and why your bench's development has put Oswego where they are right now?
Well, first off, you got to, I think you got to have a group of assistant coaches that are really committed to that process. Typically within a season, given, in Division III, like I teach 2 classes, I sit on committees at the college. My job, my primary job is to coach the basketball team, but I still have other obligations, and in addition to obviously having a family and kids. So the reality is during the season, a lot, in most programs, a head coach doesn't have a ton of time during the day that actually also works out into a player's class schedule. You can get in there and help them and work with them. And, my staff has done an incredible job. Bill Farden with our post players, and Ryan Rowland and Jake Pritchard with our perimeter players, getting in the gym and just spending time with these guys. And it's not necessarily a skill set that you're trying to develop, although that's some of it, but it's more keeping them upbeat and positive when maybe they're not seeing a lot of tangible results with playing time in the beginning of the year, because down the road they're knocking at the door of having a signature moment that gets them over the hump where they're playing every day. But keeping them believing that moment's going to happen is really challenging, because it doesn't usually happen on their timetable when they want it to happen, if that makes sense. So it's a coaching players off the bench and freshmen. It's more delicate a situation than it's ever been in our profession.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I think sticking with guys and getting them ready, because that moment, and then, the longer you coach at a place, you can draw upon different anecdotes of players that played for you in the past and say, look, this guy ended up being a really good player for us, and he had DNPs in the first semester, and his moment just wasn't time yet. So you got to keep kind of chopping wood, knocking at that door, working with your assistant, with your position coach, so you're ready when your number gets called. And my staff deserves a lot of credit for that, and our players for having buy-in with that. And there's 3 guys on our team that were really not in the mix in the first semester, and you look at us now, there's absolutely 0% chance we would have won in our championship game without the contributions that they made.
Yeah, and you see that. I mean, the bench is the separation. I think so many times I've watched a multitude of games, and it's that difference between, did you get 10 points? Did you get 2 points? Did you get 3 assists? Did you get 11 rebounds, or did you get 1 rebound? And did you have a bunch of turnovers from the bench? So it's little things in that rotation that help. And you as a coach, I mean, you've done it for so many years, and I believe 12 that you've been there, 11 on the court because of the COVID year. So when we look at that and you reflect on your time, Jason, the development of you as a coach, how have you learned how to utilize a rotation and be smart on different pieces? Because subbing guys in is an art, and you have to really know the ebb and flow of your team. You have to understand the move of the water, so to speak. And I know it's different each season because you have different makeups, but how have you learned yourself how to kind of know your team in such a way that maybe it's 2 minutes in, maybe it's 10 minutes in, maybe it's right before the end of the first, maybe it's somewhere in the middle. How have you done the dance of rotation? And like I said, I know it changes from team to team, but there's an art to feeling your team out and understanding your team in such a way where one game is going to be totally different than the other, but you know what you need at the time. How well do you feel like that's kind of been for you in learning that?
Well, I think you learn from mistakes that you've made in the past, right? That's been paramount for me. Like I've made mistakes with players and decisions on players and their roles in the past, and you're able to draw upon those mistakes during the present. And the second thing, I think you have to rely on your staff. You know what I mean? So it's very influential and meaningful for me. I have a guy like Bill Farden who has been doing it longer than me, who's been a head coach before. And him and I I found that assistant coach that compliments me very well. If you watch me, anybody that watches me, it's not a big surprise. I have the prototypical Italian. I'm a little more demonstrative, a little more emotional. And Bill's a flatliner. He's very even keeled, and he knows when to kind of come in, come out with his comments to me, and knows how I'll respond. And I listen to him, and I think that's, as you get older, I find a way to utilize my staff better and listen. So where I'm going with this is, he'll say, okay, Jay, listen, like, I just want you to think about this. This is where I think this kid's going. And at your discretion, we got to find ways to get him in, because you're going to need him later in the year. And so I think, utilizing and listening to your staff is important. Learning from your own mistakes in the past is important. And then look at our level, Dan, this because you've watched us play. It's unique. So like Syracuse will play 2 games a week. They'll play a Monday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, whatever it is. And they play with media timeouts. And one of the things I enjoy about listening to Coach Boeheim all the time, he makes great points. It's like, you can play 6 or 7 guys at that level, because the games, you're taking a minute and a half timeout. It's not the game that we're playing. We don't have media timeouts.
Yeah.
Okay. And we play Friday nights at 7:30 and Saturday afternoon at 4 with 2 hours of travel, after game 1. So like, I've got to have more than 6 or 7 guys for us to win our league, because the team's going to get tired. So, those 2 or 3 things have played a role in just learning and understanding how important that development is of, the 8 to 10 guys that you're going to play night in and night out.
Here with Jason Leone, Oswego State Lakers men's basketball head coach on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I want to stay with Bill Farden. You mentioned obviously your staff and obviously what Bill has done over the years. Directed Oswego High School's varsity boys basketball team for 19 seasons before he joined the Lakers for the 2001-2002 season, and was the director of guidance at Oswego High School, and now fills the role of recruiter and skills teacher for the Lakers team here with Jason Leone. When you look back on Bill's history and everything he did with varsity basketball at Oswego High School, just what he's meant to the community, spending all those years in Oswego, be it high school, and then all these years with the Lakers, the connection that he's had, do you feel like he has almost a pulse on the community and understands, and having all that time in high school as a secondary piece of this question, 1, having a pulse to the community, 2, understanding athletes over time and developing kids at such a young age, just what those 2 things do for you, that pulse of the community and his history of development?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about Bill. He's meant the world to me and and what we've done here. Bill's first year at the Oswego men's basketball staff was with Kevin Broderick back in 2001. My brother was a captain on that team. So my brother's senior year, my brother Joe, was Bill's first year, and he combines intellect with the ability to have perspective on what we're trying to do at this level in this particular program, with being a connector of people. And his wife, Rocky, has worked with our guys. She helps our guys with everything from tutoring to, just personal. She's a talker, she listens to the kids and helps them. She's been great with like our first generation college students, and her and Bill, they just have, it's such a unique situation. I don't know if a listener can listen to this and truly understand, unless they're around our program, the amount that they've given, and the amount of people that they've connected over the years with this program. And they are the continuity of our program. Okay. Cause they've been here longer than I have. And when you have that model and that dynamic in your team, it's such an important thing. When I played at the University of Rochester, we had an assistant coach who was a volunteer by the name of Adrian Smalls. And, Adrian was in that role there. And in Division III, where the kids aren't on scholarship, the more people you can have that are volunteering their time, but truly are invested in the program, it's such a uncommon thing, but such an advantage. And he's done everything within our program. So during practices, if you were to be at our practices, him and I coach the team together. He's not an assistant coach. He is right there front and center with me. And, the players know how intimate a knowledge he has of the school and the program. And it's not just basketball. It's the things he brings to the table about perspective of sport and life. And the word he uses all the time is he's got a joy for things. So when you walk into a room or practice every day and the players walk in and see a group of coaches that are connected and they have joy for what we're doing, that permeates out throughout the program. And that, from an intangible standpoint, has been very impactful with a lot of the things that have gone on in our program since 2001. And, to say he's an unsung hero would be disrespectful to what he's done. He's been such a tangible piece for us. And I can't imagine a scenario of me doing this here without him,
Well, and that brings me to my next point is you have been, as we talked about, 12 years at Oswego, 11 on the court with the COVID year that happened a couple of years ago. And that question comes up, right? Why Oswego? Why continuously choose the Oswego State Lakers men's basketball team? You're a successful coach. You've been honored as SUNYAC Coach of the Decade. You've won numerous Coach of the Year awards regionally in the SUNYAC and so on. There has been so much success and sustained success with this program. So the question becomes that people ask, why continue at Oswego? What is it about Oswego that continues to lure you in and get you excited about what's to come? You have built a tremendous program. I know you say you inherited a good one, but you've continued to build on that and made more sustained success. You've risen this team to places that is incredible, especially at the Division III level with over 400 teams and how hard it is to vie for anything in NCAA Division III men's basketball. So why keep coming back to Oswego?
Well, I wouldn't have a reason not to, as long as the school wants me. I grew up in the area here. It's really important to me, that I'm close with my family. I think Syracuse is a great place to raise children. There's great schools. There's great people here. I feel like it's safe. And I think building a program, every coach has things that get them excited or that keep them motivated. Yeah. My personal opinion, I think one of the harder things to do in sports is sustain success, especially at a level like ours where you don't have scholarships. Yeah. And we don't have top of the line resources. That challenge keeps the fire burning, but maintaining continuity within a program is, I think, an undervalued portion of what I do for a living. And I enjoy that, I think people just automatically assume, well, this guy or this coach has success. When are they going to move up, so to speak? My thing is I think we devalue what the word up means, I don't know. We're winning over 20 games a year. We're ranked 6th in the country. When I got here 12 years ago, there's probably people that thought, well, that can't be done, and yeah. I got a great group of guys. I enjoy going to work every day, and I like the people that I work with. And I don't think you have to analyze it any more than that, and look at, you never say, I'm not a predictor. You never say never and all that, but I'm in the back end of my career now. I'm 46 years old. I'm not going to do that. Coaching's an unhealthy profession. So I'm not going to be doing this forever, you know? So the fact that there's continuity in my life and my family's here with me is, at this stage of my life, a really important thing.
Jason Leone, Oswego State Lakers men's basketball head coach ahead of the NCAA tournament. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but you mentioned family, and I want to specifically honor, and we've talked about them before, but it's important to me to speak even further here about this family that you have, and obviously the extended family of friends and everybody that supports you. But this life with Amber as well as Sophia and Gianna, being the lone man in the household and having these wonderful women be raising you, so to speak. So what's it like to have the support that you have, the love that you have, and get to see Sophia and Gianna grow themselves and then watch you grow? And you and Amber have been on this road for a long time. So just what family life is like for Jason Leone.
So we have a sign. When Amber and I got married, 11 years ago, 11 years ago, I should probably know the exact number. It's definitely 11 years. One of my close friends gave me this sign, and it wasn't a sign that probably cost more than $5 or $10. And on the sign, it reads, "We interrupt this marriage for the start of the basketball season." And the reason I'm mentioning that sign is because anybody that coaches will tell you that one of the biggest fallacies of marriage is that it's an even proposition. And so the stuff that Amber does, I'm not going to get too much into my personal life, but the stuff a spouse does for a coach in the middle of the season is physically and mentally debilitating. You know what I mean? Just getting the kids to practices, getting them on and all that stuff, and on the bus. And my wife's sick right now. She's probably worn down, 10 times more than I am. And anyways, it truly is teamwork, what we do. And there's a lot of emotion that goes in it. Any coach will tell you there's a lot more fighting arguments that go on for most coaching couples during the season than out of season. So I'm just thankful that I've got my partner in life that is as unselfish as she is. And we make a good team. Similar to my basketball team, there's certainly things that go on, not in public, where we have our moments, but we understand the end game and all that. We want to do our best to give Sophia and Gianna the most chance at normalcy, because they're not going to have normalcy with this profession. But we try to be honest with them and tell them, this is why Dad's not home sometimes, and this is why he misses gymnastics and basketball games. And as I get to that portion of my life, that's a really, really hard thing to miss. The guilt that goes with that is really, really difficult. But Amber's a big part of, that, and proud of the teamwork that we have. And, you go into the submarine, so to speak, on October 15th as Division III coach, and then you kind of come up for air in March when it's over. And that's a long period of time, so, but anyways, those are some thoughts on that whole thing.
Well, in Oswego, you go into that submarine a little bit longer based on the success of yourself and your coaching staff, your ability to find talent, hone that talent, bring that talent in and get that talent to believe, work together, and consistently, like you said, not just success, but sustained success. Your team this season, 25-2, 17-1 in the SUNYAC. You and I have talked about this a lot. The SUNYAC is nothing to play with, and with all the conferences that comprise NCAA Division III men's basketball and the numerous teams, like we said, 400 plus, trying to make it into a tournament every single year, the SUNYAC has been able to bring in, obviously, their champion as an automatic bid, but at large as well, because of the respect that it's sustained. When we say back-to-back SUNYAC champions, that is not to be taken lightly. And I'd love for you, for people that don't know, to speak on the SUNYAC and the history of it all, because this is not something that just happens. And we've spoken many times on the teams that comprise the SUNYAC and how difficult it can be.
I'll start by saying this, Dan, to your point. I've been here. This is my 11th team that I've coached. And in, let's see, the last 12 years in our league, we have had 7 different schools out of the 10 that have won the conference. I don't know the answer to this, but I would wager to say that's in the 1 percentile of the 46. I think we have 46 or 47 leagues at our level. I would love to see, and there's probably an example, there might not be, of a league that has 7 different schools out of 10 that have won a championship over the past 11 years. So it speaks to, parity. And, the unique thing about our league that's important in Division III to recognize is that, our schools relative, we all cost the same, tuition, billable costs, tuition, room, board fees. And other than maybe a couple outliers, the admission standards are very similar. Okay. So now budgetary stuff is a different story, but when you have that, so much of Division III recruiting is admissions and financial aid. With some exceptions, a lot of that stuff is on a fairly even playing field. So you're going to have great parity in our league, when coaches have the fortune of recruiting well, and that helps our league to be viable, in my opinion. The league's been great. And I started my career at Potsdam State, and I think my first boss that gave me my first opportunity, Bill Mitchell, is listening today, and that's a blue blood program at our level. They won back-to-back national championships in the 80s. And getting my start there gave me a true indoctrination into the league and what it's all about and the history of the league. They had a legendary coach, Jerry Welsh. His son, Tim, you might know. He was an assistant at Syracuse, coached at Iona and Providence for a long time. And Coach Welsh's father was one of the all-time legendary coaches in the history of our sport. Okay. So anyways, you learn a lot about the league, which makes you take pride in the league and makes you understand how hard it is to win in the league. And then you realize you're coaching someplace special, and it motivates you. It motivates you to know how well you have to recruit and coach to maintain success in the conference.
Before I let you go, Jason Leone, game coming up. There is a very unique and interesting and exciting, and it's not the first time we've seen the NCAA tournament hosted by Oswego State, but we have the round of 64 and the round of 32. A piece of this is hosted by Oswego State, the Lakers at Max Zale Gymnasium in Oswego, New York. We hope you'll go up and see them, or if you're right down the road, go down the road for it. Coming up this Friday, March 3rd at 3:15 p.m., we have John Carroll against Albertus Magnus, and then Oswego State will have their game against Marymount of Virginia at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time this Friday. The winner of these two games will play at 5:45 p.m. on Saturday, March 4th, for the right to go on to the Sweet 16. Bring me into getting the honor of finding out in the selection process that you'll be hosting, and then what you can say about your upcoming matchup with Marymount of Virginia.
Well, I was going into it, last year we were in the same position from a record perspective. We were 25-2, and one of our 2 losses was to Nazareth College. Great program, great team. And we had lost an early season head-to-head meeting against Nazareth, and it costed us, I'm guessing, best educated guess, it cost us an opportunity to host. We finished second in the region to Nazareth. And I think the separate was probably our head-to-head loss against them. And our guys, we went on the road, and it's very difficult in our league, the way the tournament is evaluated now, the criteria, to get a chance to host out of a league like ours. We play 18 league games, Dan. So we only get 7 opportunities out of league to play teams that could boost our resume. And you're at a decided disadvantage. Like you take my alma mater, University of Rochester. They just got into the tournament with a 16-9 record. They're 6-8 in their league, but 10 of their 16 wins were against regionally ranked opponents. And their league is out of 10 regions in Division III. There's 6 regions that are covered in their league. So they are going to naturally get more opportunity. A school like them will get more opportunities at these games that are more meaningful. So that makes it a little bit more of a challenge out of our league. To go 25-2 and not host last year was was something that, from a scheduling perspective, we had to analyze. I mean, you could sit there and complain. There's imperfections at every level in the tournament in any sport. So if you have 1,000 teams in the tournament, the 1,001st team is going to be upset they're not in. So I'm not one of those guys. What I do try to spend time doing is looking at history of the tournament, how teams host, how they get in, and do the best. I think my AD thought I was dead crazy by playing all 7 of our non-league games on the road this year, but we did it. We had 15 wins away from home this year, which is the most in the country. And that gave us the best chance to build a resume that I thought, if we had a good enough year, could give us an opportunity to maybe play some home games. So bottom line, we went 15-1 in those games. Won our league, got the AQ, and at 25-2, it worked out in our favor. I think we were the 16th ranked out of 16 teams that get to host. So we squeezed in there, but we did what we had to do. And it's not only an honor, but obviously I think it's always, when you don't have to travel and drive, for 8 hours to a venue. Obviously, most people would prefer to play at home, although it doesn't guarantee us anything in terms of success. So we were happy when we saw our name show up yesterday. We had a watch party up at our student center, and a lot of administrators and fans and obviously our players were really excited to see our name pop up. And the euphoria of us hosting was certainly memorable.
And then as far as, you have Marymount coming up in this first matchup, just what you can say about this initial game.
Truthfully, I only watched one game yesterday. It's, how this stuff goes from covering Syracuse and stuff. You find, so the selection show was delayed yesterday by an hour. They were probably trying to tidy up some last minute things with bracketing and flights for teams and stuff like that. My best guess. So we didn't find out our matchup till probably about 2:15, 2:30. So at that point, then you go over, and then you've got some student media obligations. And then I look up and it's 3:30. We're probably at 5:45, and I've got to try to have something to give our guys in terms of just working on some very initial thoughts on their team. Yeah. So I only watched one film. I'd be lying if I told you I've done a real deep dive yet. That's what today is going to be for. But we know this. I know their coach well. As an assistant, he worked for the most successful coach in the history of Division III basketball. When he was an assistant at Franklin Marshall, he worked for Glenn Robinson. The one game I watched yesterday, you could tell remnants of him working for that guy by the way they play defense and their tough-minded nature. And they're a team that doesn't beat themselves. And look at the right outside Washington, D.C. They have the recruiting footprint. They're going to have a lot of guys on their team from the Catholic League in D.C., which is one of the best leagues in the country, and tough-minded kids. And they will be organized. They'll have a game plan. And our tournament, Dan, unlike the Division I tournament, there's no games where you go in and you see Duke playing Austin P. Okay, this isn't. Yeah. We don't have. There might be one or two of those games in the Division III tournament, but this is an even matchup, and we're going to have to play really well to win.
Yeah, and you got the assistant softball coach out at SUNY Cortland just sent in a message here, so I want to share this out. And actually, she just sent a message over. So, congrats on your success, SUNYAC strong. Good luck the rest of your way. SUNY is on the rise. Great spot to be. So that's coming from another coach within the SUNYAC. And she said, check out Cortland softball this season, and best of luck to you, Jason. So sending some love from other places in the SUNYAC as well, which is a beautiful thing. So, and it's good to see that. It's good to see coaches, even from other
Absolutely.
schools helping each other
Yeah,
and supporting each other.
we've got a great group. Yeah, we got a great group in our league, and we were fortunate enough to beat New Paltz and Brockport this weekend, and the way I communicated with their coaches after the game and the respect and sportsmanship that went on. It's hard to end your season and the range of emotions that go on, the abruptness that it ends. For people to take time to, not only follow their sports, but the way you handle losing and winning after those games. It's a unique part of our level, and it's great to see. And we concur. We've got a lot of respect for our member institutions in our league and the things that go on at those places as well.
Coming from Jason Leone, 300 plus and counting, and the NCAA tournament coming to Oswego this week, Friday, March 3rd, Saturday, March 4th. Oswego will be hosting, and they will be playing the second game in Oswego this Friday, March 3rd at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Jason, all of my desire and want to be up there. I like to do these things because I like to be on record and to hold me to it. So I will see you Friday. It's supposed to snow. I don't care. I've been up to many snowstorms in Oswego. So I will see you this Friday at Maxdale Gymnasium, and I'm looking forward to it. There's no place I would rather be, and I want you, and I know you know this because we've been friends for a while. Hearing about your success, seeing it, and getting to just watch these opportunities in more life. I know you give credit to your assistant coaches, and I give them credit too. Your student athletes, the administration, your family. I agree with all of that. But I will tell you from my heart to yours, as I hope you already know, there's no place that I would rather be than by the side of a friend in a moment like this. So I look forward to seeing you this Friday, March 3rd at 5:45. And I'm proud of you more than anything. Thank you for letting me be a part of
it. Thanks, Dan. You're wonderful, man. I appreciate everything. Enjoy following you too. And I don't know if I ever told you this. I wanted to do what you do for a living when I was growing up. So I wanted to get into sportscasting, broadcast journalism. Oswego was one of the schools I looked at. I kind of veered off that path, but during my high school years, I always just wanted to do it. One of my closest friends in youth sports is Stephen Fonte, who you probably know, locally here, that's had a ton of success. And Steve and I we played on a youth basketball team. Our fathers coached together, and we always talked about wanting to be sportscasters. Steve stuck with it, obviously, and I went into a different thing, but I just think it's such a cool job, and the people you get to meet and follow sports and all that, I envy you.
Well, listen, if I didn't get to do this and I didn't chase my dreams, I wouldn't have met you. So there's a reason why you coach, there's a reason why I broadcast, and there's a place to be this Friday. I will say this, though. I know you said you liked all the digs of the studio and all the cool stuff that's up. I'm missing an Oswego Lakers something, so we're gonna have to find something for Oswego that I can throw up here in the studio. So we'll have to figure that out. But I appreciate you as always, Jason, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday. And in the meantime, good luck and God bless in preparation. But I know you're a humble guy, so I say it all the time, and you always smile. But I'm proud of you. I'm so happy for Oswego. I love that this school is succeeding, not only in basketball, but in a lot of areas. And it's truly an honor for me to be able to cover this program. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for staying in Central and Upstate New York, because selfishly, that's cool for me.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate all your coverage.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Likewise. Take care.
See you. That coming from Jason Leone here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate being with us and having the opportunity to share in this moment. So such an awesome experience and if you haven't seen them, you got to go out and see Oswego. Come with me out there, right? Let's go do it. I'm not saying jump in my car, but I'm saying get your tail out to Oswego this Friday, and let's let's watch this thing together. There is literally, genuinely no place I would rather be. And I'm so ecstatic. You find out because you don't know, like Jason said, you find out yesterday and it was an hour late. So you're like, okay, when's it going to be? What time is it going to be? And this and that. And I look at my schedule and I'm like, yeah, if I have something, I'm going to try to move it. But, yeah, I will be, hopefully the weather will hold up and it'll be a nice drive from wherever you're coming in central and upstate New York. But, hopefully, I mean, I'll drive 4 miles an hour if I have to. I hope I don't have to do that, but if I have to do that, I'll do that. I want to thank Paige too. Cortland is near and dear to my heart. It was one of the schools that accepted me. And even though I didn't end up going there, one of my good buddies that played on our basketball team in high school together went there. Shout out to Ryan. And not only that, but I have a friend on the football team that went over to SUNY Cortland, Max White, who came from CNS. And I've covered some of their programs in the past and been able to tell some of their stories. So, Paige, if you are still on the feed here, thank you for reaching out. And don't be a stranger, because I'd be more than happy to tell this story of Cortland's softball team and to have you on the show. So thank you for reaching out. Thank you for your kind words to Jason Leone, and know that when it comes to Wake Up Call, we are more than happy to reach out all throughout and cover so many and keep on adding them. I tell people all the time when they say, how come you haven't done that yet? Or what about that? I always say it's not that we didn't want to, it's that we haven't gotten there yet. That's how it is, right? What did my very good friend Floyd Little say to me? He always used the quote that he loved: I got miles to go before I sleep and promises to keep. So we are going to take a step aside, and we will be back with Bethann Shapiro-Ord on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you hanging out with us on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /Wake Up Call DT. As always, it is my honor, it is my privilege
Recording in progress.
To be here with you and to be
Recording
able to
stopped.
spend time here on Wake Up Call with people from all around the country and all around the world. So thank you for letting me be a part of your day, and thank you for joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll take a step aside for a fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and we'll head to Binghamton's Bethann Shapiro-Ord, who's on the road as she gets set with her team for the America East tournament coming up. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And then them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Happy to be here with you where sports truly meets that thing called life, and we appreciate you being here with us and enjoying your morning. I hope you are, and we're always happy to be here with you on mixlr.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com, all /wakeupcalldt. And I am so excited that we have Bethann Shapiro-Ord, and we have a couple special guests that are going to be here with us as well this morning from the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team that are on the road in Maine because, well, it made more sense, right, to stay there, try to catch some lobster, have a good time. So with that being said, Bethann, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well, and I want you to, I'm going to let you introduce your special guest today because these are your wonderful, wonderful student athletes. So I want you to introduce them to the world here all across our many outlets that we have. So go ahead and do that.
Awesome. I have our freshman, Jaden Welts, right here. Hi. She's from up in Canada, pretty close to where we are right now. We probably could go visit her country or where we are.
Yeah.
And then our senior, Janae Bowman, Hi. Who is from Maryland.
Yeah, and so with Jaden and Danae going to be joining us here today and have the opportunity to have a conversation about what's coming up here in the America East tournament as well as the season itself. Coach, I'll start with you here. What do you do in between? I know there's game prep and all these different things, practice, film, and whatnot, but what does a team stranded in Maine do in between?
Well, you know, we just decided to stay. Didn't make sense to go back and forth. But we've been doing a lot of different things. Unfortunately, we were looking into whale watching and lobstering, but they don't start back up till May. So we opted with going to their mall. And then yesterday we had an interesting run. It wasn't with those playing. It wasn't a typical bowling alley. It had those, like, have you ever played with those bocce balls? They look like bocce balls.
I haven't.
And it was very interesting. Jay wasn't on my team, but I had Danae on my team and Cameron and Ella Wanzer. And I think because of me, but because of my team.
Fair enough. Danae, I wanna have you on here for a second here. I had the opportunity to come down to Binghamton and watch you play, and it was one of the games, and obviously not the only one of many, where, you know, the team's been able to see you progress and do some special things. What can you say about being a part of this Binghamton Bearcats team this season?
It's been a great experience. We've definitely grown in a lot of areas since the beginning. And just seeing like a lot of our freshmen like Jaden come into their role and play a huge role to really benefit us has been a great experience.
For you, what's been your favorite part? Do you have a moment or two this season that you really felt like showed a turning point or a special moment for this team that you think you can build on? Can you go back to a moment or two?
For sure. I think our Navy game at home, I think that game showed us that we can fight to the end. I think we were down like 10, and then we came all the way back in the fourth quarter. So that opened my eyes to a lot of things. And then in conference, we've done it again. So that's a highlight of the year for me.
Jaden, for you, 3 words that would describe the Binghamton Bearcats at this point in the season, this women's basketball team. How would you break it down in 3 words to somebody who doesn't know Binghamton?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. I'm going to take a second here to actually think about that one.
Okay, fair enough.
I think definitely the first word that I would pick is heart, which can mean a lot of things, but one heartbeat is what we say we are. And when we work together as one heartbeat, we're more successful. So I'd say we play with a lot of heart. We have a lot of heart on and off the court. The second one I would say is definitely energy. Try to bring energy to every day, every practice, every game, and we feed off of each other's positive energy. And I think that says a lot about our team. And finally, I would say grit. I would say grit because we're always trying to use that word to motivate us and play gritty and come up with the team that shows the most grit. So I would say heart, energy, and grit for sure.
I like that. Coach, heart, energy, grit, are those 3 fitting words in your opinion?
Absolutely. I mean, this team is, you know, when, like they said, they're one heartbeat, or we're one heartbeat. You know, you need all the little intricate parts of the heart. You need everybody, all the moving pieces to be working as one. And when they do that, it's scary. And I tell them all the time, like, this is a special team. And I think, you know, is it where, you know, it's a new season, you know, so you don't like necessarily think about the past, but it's put us in those moments to be ready for what we're about to endure.
So you have this America East tournament coming up, and, you know, having the opportunity to move forward here and to have more life. Just what this America East has done for Binghamton this season, in your opinion, the level of competition that you faced within conference, how you feel it's molded you up to this point, and what you expect as you step into the tournament.
Yeah, our league is very top to bottom tough. You know, I mean, even a team that might be at the, you know, lower ends, they, you know, everybody comes to battle. It's a very, very strong conference. You know, I think we've been in some really, really close ones, and you know, we're going to get over those humps because it's time. right? It's time, and it's just a couple points away. They see it, they feel it, they're hungry for it. But I think it's helped us prepare, like as we're preparing for tomorrow night's game. We've already, our coach, my assistant, associate head coach, Coach Newman, has put an incredible game plan together. We've made some, we've had some wrinkles, we've made some adjustments, and just the team believing and knowing that they can do it. That's the biggest thing. That's tournament time. It's a whole nother level,
Yeah, and you said that, it's time to do it. We have to do it and make some of those changes. What are some of those pieces that you've tried to really hone in on here, knowing that you're going into tournament time in the America East, coming off of a 13-16 regular season, being in those moments and not getting some of those victories? What was missing that you're trying to institute right now?
Well, the moments that we were really successful, and they've seen it, we've seen it, we talk about it, is when we're playing literally like as one heartbeat, like as a team, and it's not one person. Sometimes when we had some struggles is when we were trying, maybe one person was trying to do too much, or we weren't all connected as the five kids out there and the whole team being connected. We've been lucky. We start 2 freshmen, and they've been incredible, and they've grown up before our eyes this season, in Ella and Jaden, and then we have some incredible senior leadership with Danae and Claire Traeger. We're still a good mix, and I think when they just continue to play together, it's like I said, it's scary. And those are the things that they see, like, okay, yeah, I need to make that extra pass, or yes, I'm going to do my job so that I get my teammates where they need to be. And having Jay as our point guard, she drops dimes, she gets assists, she can score. She's done a really good job of stepping, even though she's a freshman, of starting to talk a lot more with her teammates. She does a really nice job with that. And Danae, who when she was her age, when she was a freshman, was a little more quiet. She steps, she has really grown too as a leader of being able to communicate, and that's helped quite a bit as well. And that's what we need. We need everybody to be on the same page and just work together. We don't have to do anything crazy. I'm not asking them to do things that they can't do. It's just staying within what we do and just going hard.
That coming from Bethann Shapiro-Ord, as well as Danae Bowman and Jaden Welch, here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, live from Maine, with a game coming up very soon. We do something called Tell Me Something Good on the show. Jaden, I want to bring you in here. Tell me something good about Danae, and then tell me something good about Coach.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Easy. Something good about Danae is I love her work ethic, and as Coach said, how big of a leader she's been to not only our team but to me, coming in as a freshman point guard. So her work ethic and leadership for sure. And Coach, I love her fire and her energy and her drive to win. It's very competitive and very similar to what I try and bring every single day. So definitely her drive and competitive fire.
All right, I like that. Danae, you're up next here. Tell me something good about Jaden and about Coach.
Something good about Jaden, she's a sponge, so she really takes what the coaches and myself give her, and she really works with that. And also, she's a great cook. And then something good about Coach is like she's going to continue to fight for you, like with the refs. Like I'm sure people see it every day with our games. Like we don't have to fight for ourselves because she's out there doing it for us.
I love that. And did she just say with the refs? Okay, I like that.
I won't get in trouble. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, Danae, I think that the way that the rules work in the NCAA is you can say whatever you want about Coach's response to the refs, but Coach can't respond to the refs. So Coach can whisper in your ear.
One heartbeat right there. One heartbeat. See, we got it.
Yeah, so Coach can whisper in your ear what she thinks, and then you can address that to me about the officials. Coach, your thoughts on these two and why they're so special to the program?
it starts with what kind of people they are. And I am so lucky and so blessed to have both of these young ladies. So Jaden, just what she's endured, she shows me so much, what she went through last year being out, and just coming back stronger and doing, not just putting her head down and being upset, but putting her head down and grinding and working and getting herself in incredible shape, to be ready to be our starting point guard. Um, and just that, just that part of her, the grit, that of getting ready, and also just what kind of person she is. She's an incredible young lady, on and off the court. Both of them, I can't say enough. Just such incredible role models for young girls. And I'm proud, proud to be their coach. And Danae, same thing, like her work ethic as well, just incredible. She's been with me for 4 years, and God bless her. She's just, she knows, she knows how we are, and she knows we'll take care of her, both of them. We take care of our people. We get them better. They've developed, because they work, and they want to get in, but off the court, the nicest people you'd ever want to be around. I'm proud of them, like the way they are in the community, the little girls that come running up to them and want their autographs. And they are such a bright light, in Binghamton. And I'm so lucky to have them as my players and get to coach them and be part of their journey.
I love
that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Because they're just such awesome people. I can't say enough.
No, I appreciate that very much, and it means a lot. Danae, I wanna go back to you for this one. Women's basketball is, to me, when I see men's basketball, I see women's basketball, I see basketball, right? That's what we're supposed to see. But the world doesn't always see it that way, and I've tried to do my due diligence in making sure that women's basketball is treated the same. Where is women's basketball in your opinion, and where should it be?
That is a great question. First and foremost, I think it's grown a lot, especially since I'm learning in class like what Title IX has done and like the opportunities it gave to women. So it's not where I want it to be, and I think it has a lot of growth. I'm not sure where I want it to be, because unfortunately within this world, somebody's always going to be greater than the other. So men will sometimes be greater than women, and it's the world we live in. So I don't know where I want it to be, but I know it has more growth needs to happen for it.
I appreciate that, and I like that. Jaden, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, same kind of thing. I think it's grown a lot in the past couple of years too, with female athletes using their platform to kind of bring attention and awareness to the separation between the two. So I do think there has been a lot of development in the issue itself, but like she said, like I think there's still room to grow and still things we can do both as like female athletes and just people of the world to kind of, bring more recognition to the women's basketball side. And like she said, it may not get to perfect equality, but if we can do something to bring it a little bit closer together so that everybody gets kind of the recognition they deserve, I think that's where it should head in the future.
Coach?
Well, obviously I'm a little bit older, so I've been through it. There has been incredible leaps and bounds, but not nearly what it needs to be. At Binghamton, though, I will tell you, our attendance is incredible, and those are things that a lot of women fight for. A lot of programs fight for, guys or girls or women. And I think that part is really nice for us. Our fans, like I said, we lead the league, men's and women's. And it's been women's the last few years. Yeah. But now our guys are there too, as far as attendance. But there's other things, with Title IX. Absolutely. I grew up during that time where we didn't have the things that they have now. And my mom actually today, I think, is talking to people about Title IX, to a group. And she was asking me questions about how sports has impacted my life and where I am today and things like that. And that's what it's about. It's Title IX is giving opportunity to everybody and to women that have gone so long with not, with not equality. And I think it is getting better, but I think you're right. Like Jaden said, with her, like with different platforms, she has a great page. Go ahead, Jaden. You say it at.
Excuse me, at Jaden W Fit.
So she does a lot of stuff with nutrition and health, and even just posting some of her meals, which are pretty good, pretty healthy, and because she wants to help other people, and her platform is something you wouldn't have had, but because of the different things that's going on now with NILs and things like that, a lot of women are getting opportunities to do some different stuff.
Well, we are going to get into Maine in a second, but y'all have been trapped up there for about a week now, so we're going to have some fun on the show. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
All right.
We like to have fun.
So Bethann Shapiro-Ord here with me, and special guests joining us this morning from the Binghamton Bearcats, Danae Bowman and Jaden Welts here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. We do a thing on the show called Rapid Fire, and this gives us an opportunity to have some fun that has nothing to do with basketball. It can, but it doesn't have to. And so we can ask each other questions about anything. There is no pressure. It's just live video and audio to the entire world. So you are on screen. If you don't answer, you'll be like that. So don't do that. But we have the opportunity to share who we are a little bit more and to help people get to know you. So we're going to round robin this thing. So I'll ask Coach will ask Danae will ask Jaden, and then we'll go back around. We'll do it that way. You can ask anything you want, but it's rapid fire. So whatever your first thought is, go with that thought. Coach, I get you first here.
And not basketball.
And not basketball. We'll go away from basketball. All right, Coach. If you were a stand-up comedian.
Oh, you're killing me.
If you were a stand-up comedian, what topic do you think would be your best topic to tell jokes about? And what 3 cities would you want to go to?
My family, growing up, Okay. Absolutely. What cities? Of course, I would go New York City because that's the biggest stage, right? Chicago. And then let's go out to LA.
All right. I like it. That was
it could be a TV show, our family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about being Italian, right? So I'm sure an everybody's loves Raymond type of approach to that could probably work out. All right, Coach. You get to ask Danae a question.
Danae, what is your favorite city to visit?
I'll go with LA. And then Jaden, if you could be any animal, what would you be?
I would be a dolphin.
I love dolphins.
Can I say why though? Why would you be a dolphin? Because
they are the smartest animal, I think.
They are.
Mammal. Yeah. Okay. If you could have any song play when you walked into a room, which song would you pick and why?
Jaden, I knew I liked you as a person. That's a good question. I think about this a lot. I always say there should be a soundtrack to my life, and there's times where I'll put my phone in my pocket and I'll play it low because I want to hear it and pretend that like God put it in the background. I got so many songs that I like. You know what? I would probably, it's got to be this one because I do work on comedy. And I'm from Syracuse and stationed in Syracuse I don't want to say most of the time because I travel a lot, but I do have the opportunity to be in my hometown. So I would say if I came out to a comedy stage, there's one song that I have to have, and it's Put On by Young Jeezy because I put on for my city, and I want that. I want people to feel that when I come out. And I know I would feel it, and I already know how I would bop to the song. So it would be Put On by Jeezy. It would have to be.
Okay.
That would be my answer. So, yeah, because that would give me that energy. And as my mom said, once I start my comedy, nobody's safe. So I do like that. All right, let me see here.
Yeah, moms are not safe when it comes to our comedy.
I told my mom, I said, listen, Bethann, you know some stories from yesterday. My mom, she is a wonderful lady, but also the scariest person that I had growing up. So love my mom, but you don't mess with an Italian woman. Let's see.
Not when we're kids.
All right, Jaden, I'm coming back to you here. If you were president of the United States.
Yeah. How about of Canada? Or the,
Okay, how about this? If you were the leader of Canada, you were at the head, you brought all the provinces together, everything. Who would you want at your side to be your voice of reason to help you in your leadership? And what's the first thing you would change about Canada?
Okay, I got it. I would choose Mother Nature as my voice of reason.
Okay.
And I would make the change the weather.
I think this might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, rapid fire. I would have never gone that angle, but yeah, I like that. You don't change the raptor.
So I go to Danae.
Yeah, you go to Danae, but I will say this really quick. I've been a Raptors fan since the beginning of the Raptors. So shout out to Canada and big shout out to Jurassic Park. I have to say that.
Absolutely. Okay, Danae, if you could be anybody in the world for a day, who would you pick?
That's a very.
I think I was born for rapid fire, honestly.
Yeah. Does it have to be alive or could it be a past?
No, it could be anybody. History.
Past or present.
Past or present.
Yeah.
I think I would be Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
I want to know why. Why, Danae?
One, I've always wanted to sing and I can't sing. And then on top of that, I can't dance. And he's, in my opinion, he's the best to ever do it. So I want to put myself in his shoes just for one day. All I need is one.
Okay. You want to put yourself in the moonwalk shoes. I feel that.
Yes.
All right. I like that answer. You got coach now.
All right. If you can coach any sport other than basketball, what would it be?
Golf.
Oh, that was quick. You knew that one.
You want to know why?
Yes.
Because after or as they play in practice, I would get to play and, so I get to play with them, I guess, drive around the cart and get to hit a couple of shots. Now my brother Casey, who coaches golf, would probably tell me you don't really get to do that, but I would think I could.
Okay. I like that. I like golf. All right, coach, you got me.
Okay. Dan, who is your favorite 3 visitors to your show?
I don't know how
and why.
I don't know how many trios I've had on the screen at the same time. I don't think I've ever done it like this. So, this is what I'll say. There's been, at this point, for Wake Up Call, there's been at least 4,000 people on the show. Everybody's different. I can honestly say that everybody was nice except for maybe 2 people at a training camp in the NFL that I'll leave unnamed. But
can we guess them? No, I'm just kidding.
They're no longer playing, but one of them follows my stuff on Instagram now, so I guess that's cool. The other guy is just an interesting bird. But I would say, yeah, this is what I'll tell you. It's hard for me to ever choose a favorite of anything because I'm very blessed to get to tell stories. Having the 3 of you on today and get to do it like we're doing it right now, this is a little history in the making because we've never done a live 3-person on one screen like this. So for the history and the making portion of it, it's been fun. Your rapid fire was actually rapid. Your answers have been great. And I like the fact that you guys are smiling because being, kind of just sitting and waiting to play, I know sometimes can get a little whatever. And I wanted to bring a little light to your day. And in a really cool way, you brought light to mine. So I've become a Bearcat fan. I blame Bethann for a lot of that. But, as you know, Bethann, covering this program and the want to cover Binghamton in general is important to me because I think there's so much at Binghamton. I don't know if your ears have been ringing, Danae, Jaden, and Bethann, but I've been telling people all week long and for the last few months about your arena and why I think that arena is not just good for your basketball, but it's good to host different events and different things coming up. I think it's one of the best arenas that I've been able to see in a while. So you definitely are a sleeping giant of sorts, and I want to tell that secret because it shouldn't be kept. So to answer your question, Bethann, you know that I have a lot of love for Binghamton and a lot of appreciation for you guys. And when you win, it makes me happy. So I would say that this trio is a pretty darn good trio to be on the show. That's what I would say.
Good answer. I liked it.
So we're going to finish things up talking about Maine, but also discussing, because women's basketball is so important to me and so important to continue to put a spotlight on, I want to know each of your favorite player of all time. Bethann, I'll start with you.
Oh, see, it's hard because I have two. I mean, everybody has the, Kobe, the Michael Jordan. But I have two because I was connected to them, just like why I like certain teams. So all time, that's hard. I mean, wow.
Give me men's and women's. Do you have men's and women's?
Okay, good. Absolutely. So my men's would be Damian Lillard, because when I was at Weber State, Dame was a senior, and it was my first year there. And as great as a player he was an even more incredible person, and he still is, and he's family, and he's doing incredible things, obviously scoring 71 points the other night. And I had an opportunity to work with him for a year or be around him, but not just that year, like when he went to go into the draft and to get picked, and he would still come back. And for women, when the pro guy players come back, they don't really usually typically do anything for the girls. And everything that he did for his men's team, for Weber State men, he did the same thing. Like when his first shoe dropped, he made sure we all had them as well. Shirts, all kinds of things. I mean, he even flew me on a private jet one time when I was recruiting, and our guys were about to play in the the finals of our conference tournament. And he's like, "Coach, you want to get, come back?" And I said, "Well, my game's at 10. What time we leave?" And he said, 1:00. I said, "All right, I'll be there." The only time we kind of argued was when he asked me my weight, and I gave him a weight, and he said, "Are you sure?" Like, you don't do that to women. But he threw me on the little private plane, and I got back in time. And then I would say Angel McCautry. Angel, I had a chance to coach at Louisville. She was the first player I ever coached that could dunk. It was our first workout, our first individual workout, and we just worked out really hard. She was sweating, she was working hard. And at the end of it, we were just standing around, and all of a sudden she took the ball and she went up and dunked it. And I just about lost. I was like, oh my God, this just happened. But the two of them, they're just as good people, and that's why I love them so much. But the other thing is their work ethic. They didn't become a 71-point shooter and a two-time Olympian. Angel was a two-time Olympian and played in the WNBA and is overseas and things like that by just, showing up. I mean, their work ethic, it was hours and hours in the gym. And I saw both of them, and both of them got Rookie of the Year, when they got drafted. And I thought that was really cool that literally I knew both, and I don't want to say I had an impact, but I'd like to say that. No, I don't tell people that, but incredible people. And those are two of my favorite all-time players.
I love it. I love those answers, and I love the connection. And now I like Lillard more than I liked before because I didn't know that story. So
showed up and helped us move in our first day at Weber State. Literally, my husband said, "Oh, are you guys the movers?" And he's like, "No, hi, Mr. Ord. I'm Damian Lowe with the men's team, and we're just coming to help move you guys in."
Okay.
Like, who does that?
Yeah, no,
all right, girls. Next
that's incredible. Big shout out to both of them. All right, Danae, what do you got?
Women, I'm going with Candace Parker. Just love her tenacity on both ends. Like, she can score the ball like crazy. And then defensively, she puts her mind to something. She gets it done. And then next, I always go with Kobe. He's like the guy. So, yeah, it's my first choice.
All right. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, for sure. Okay. Jaden, what do you got?
Right. On the women's side, I'm going to go Sue Bird.
Okay.
Just because I love watching her game, and I think she's had a very long, successful career, and I think that's really amazing that, when we compare the women to men, like, successes, like, she's up there. So I think that's really incredible too, and definitely helps the barrier between the men and women's basketball side. And then for men, I would also say Kobe Bryant. Like, I've always watched him growing up. I'm number 24 for that reason, actually, and I wore number 8 when I was younger, and wore number 2, which was his daughter's number as well. So he's been a part of my life for a long time. And the second male player I'm going to say is Steve Nash, for many reasons. Obviously, that point guard looking to get assists in any way possible type mentality. I love, and he's Canadian too, which is cool. So yeah, say Steve Nash is. I've always watched him growing up too, and love like rewatching his film and stuff like that for my own sake, and just to see how he did it coming from somewhere as small as he did.
Love those answers. I appreciate that very, very much so, and that's incredible. So great answers. Those answers are all correct. That's what I would say. And coming up here, final note, you're playing Maine back-to-back. So you had the opportunity to go up against them to end the regular season in a close, hard-fought game, 69-65, and you will face them again in Maine tomorrow, March 1st, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in the quarterfinals of the America East tournament. Coach, what did you learn about Maine? And most recently, what was the separation in the game that you feel you can change now that we're in the postseason?
Okay, can I let Danae answer that question? I'm just kidding. I'm teasing. There's a reason for that. No. I think the biggest thing is we learned that, obviously we can't, they have 2 really special players, and, we have got some adjustments that we're going to make. We got some wrinkles that we're putting in, obviously. One of them just came back, and she's been on a storm since she got back, in Ann Simon. And they have another young lady, Adriana Smith, who are one's a post, one's a guard. And those are their 2 big key players. And we have to make sure we limit some of their touches. We have to make sure we limit some of their offensive opportunities. And we just gotta tighten some things up defensively, which we will. We have to be better, at giving. We had in the second half a lot more, we had some second chance opportunities, but there was some crucial times in that fourth quarter that we did not. And we got to make sure from the tip to the end, we are locked in on defense, and because our offense comes from that. And I would say that would be those would be the big things, and really just limiting second chance opportunities for them, especially at the end of the game.
And final note from Danae and Jaden. Danae, I'll start with you. Why should someone be a fan of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball program?
I think we're exciting to watch. Like Jaden said, we play with a lot of grit. So we'll definitely, whether it was a win or a loss, you will be excited that you came to the game to watch us. And then we're all just energetic, from our bench to our players that are on the court. everyone has each other's back. We're diving for balls. We're helping each other up. We're doing all the little things to make sure that we all come out together and on top.
I love it. Jaden, what's the best part of being a Bearcat?
Best part about being, there's just so many. How can you choose one? Bearcat, like in general, or Bearcat on the women's basketball team?
Whatever you'd like to answer, however you want to answer it.
I'll say the basketball team. I think kind of like what Danae said is we're a fun team to watch. We're a fun team to play with. From practice to games, like the competitiveness and like the desire to win that we each have makes it kind of enjoyable to compete against each other in practice and compete in a game. And I'm a very competitive person, so I like being able to push myself every day and like find a new challenge to kind of overcome within myself and with my teammates. So I think my favorite part about being a Bearcat is just being able to, get better every single day and have the chance and have the opportunity to play against good teams in a conference that all can come out on top. And for Wednesday's game especially, like I think it's exciting to be the underdog, and who doesn't love a good, Cinderella story where the underdog plays one of the top seed teams, and it's just a battle from tip to horn. And like we've talked about, we've been close all season. We've lost games by only a couple of points, and I think it's exciting to kind of be that team that everybody's kind of afraid to match up because they don't know what to expect. And we kind of battled our way all season and didn't come up with all of the wins, but I think it's exciting to kind of be that team that everybody fears going into playoffs.
I love it. Love those answers. I appreciate it. Jaden Welts, Danae Bowman, and head coach Bethann Shapiro-Ord of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team, who will tip off this Wednesday, March 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at Maine in the America East Tournament quarterfinals. Ladies, go get a W for yourselves, and selfishly, I will be watching, so I want one too. Go get me a dub.
ESPN Plus.
What'd you say?
ESPN Plus.
Yes,
ESPN Plus.
So make sure y'all check it out there on ESPN Plus and stay close to the Binghamton Bearcats. As always, Bethann, thank you for everything. Danae and Jaden, thank you for surprising and joining today, and thank you for sharing your story with the world. So like I said before, y'all made history today, 3-on-1 screen live, and I'm so happy that we got to tell some good stories, have some good laughs, and hopefully it gave you something else besides bowling in Maine to do. So thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful game and stay safe.
Thanks, Dan.
Take care.
Bye.
That coming from Bethann Shapiro-Ord once again, as well as Danae Bowman and Jaden Welts of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team, a team that means a lot to me, has meant a lot to me over the years here. And like I said, I blame Bethann for that, and I mean that in all the positives. So big shout outs. Levell Sanders of the Binghamton men's team supposed to join us today, but he had a change in his schedule. So we are going to hopefully get to have him on here very, very soon. We wish him all the best and continued support as he has a game coming up tonight to end the regular season, and then he will have a game from here. He'll be moving on into the America East as well for the tournament. So a lot of great stuff coming up. The ingredients to success that we were going to hold for yesterday we'll bring in today, and like I said, wishing Levell the absolute best as we get set to hopefully talk with him very soon. So with that being said, let's take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Thanks again to our trio of fantastic women from the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team. We'll be back after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning, and we appreciate you being here so very much, and cannot thank you enough for your love and your support, your kind words, and just being here, just listening and watching on Facebook.com and YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, where you're listening to live internet streaming radio and all around the world. We thank you for that. So big thanks. Of course, everybody that's going to WakeUpCallDT.com and listening and watching, listening on our homepage, watching all our videos, connecting with us. We thank you so very much. And like I said, with Levell Sanders, definitely appreciate everything that he does. And, sometimes, especially on a game day, there's a change in the schedule. So we're going to have him on soon, and we've had him on already this season. We always appreciate having him on the show. Greg said he votes for more Bobcat coverage. Well, keep praying, brother. Your boy's trying. So doing what I can here to do some special things with Binghamton that I would love for them to come to fruition. With that being said, we're going to jump into the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful people at Avicoli's. It rounds out every Tuesday around 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time. And so we bring you the ingredients to success, presented by Avicoli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. And on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, right down the street from the Liverpool High School Warriors that we have the opportunity to hang out with every single month, on site, on location at Avicoli's. And we're going to be there with them. I'm excited to do this. We're going to be there with them tomorrow. So March 1st, we'll be hanging out with them at 7 p.m. The Liverpool girls basketball team is going to be joining us. They have more life. They continue to win in the postseason, and Mike Wheeler's first season as the varsity girls basketball head coach. Mike and his team will join me. We met at Avicoli's and did a live broadcast going into the season, and now here we are as the postseason continues for this wonderful team, Liverpool Warriors girls basketball team, and the boys basketball team doing fantastic as well. So the girls basketball team will be joining us on site, on location, at Avicoli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the road from Liverpool High School on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road. Come out and see them tomorrow, Wednesday, March 1st, at 7 p.m. That's Wednesday, March 1st at 7 p.m. We will be on the pizza side broadcasting live. So very excited to get to do that with you, and looking so forward to that opportunity. So very, very much looking forward to that and love it. So I can't wait. It's always a great time to be with Mike Wheeler and all of his teams, and Liverpool girls basketball, Liverpool Warriors girls basketball team means a lot to me, has meant a lot to me over the years, and Mike means a lot to me. So the fact that they joined together and he became their head coach is really an awesome small, it's a small world. It really is experience for me. So I love it to see two things I care about so much come together. So a lot of great stuff happening at Avicoli's, and of course the ingredients to success happening every single Tuesday around 10:50 a.m. Eastern time. And with that being said, let's jump into it. So the ingredients to success, the topic for today, be vulnerable. Let me explain. So some people are like, what? Be vulnerable, Dan? Huh? But no, be vulnerable. Now, hear me out. It's not easy to be vulnerable. It's not easy to put it all out there, okay? I understand that. But I'm not saying be vulnerable like be stupid, like just, put yourself out without any armor on to the world. I'm saying be vulnerable in situations where you feel like you care about something matters to you, right? Me on my show, in order for me to be the best broadcaster, not even the best broadcaster, in order for me to come onto my broadcast and be me, I have to be vulnerable, right? I have to be vulnerable with you. I share stories with you about my life on here. I've talked about being bullied. I've talked about suicide on the show. I've talked about topics that a lot of people would potentially keep to themselves. But why do you talk about it? Well, I talk about it because if we don't address it, if we don't speak on mental health, if we don't speak on emotional health, spiritual health, social health, physical health, economical health, we're doing a disservice to people. People have to be able to share in a safe space. And you say, well, Dan, how is this a safe space? It's public. Anybody can watch your videos. Anybody can see the show. Because that's exactly why I do it. Because anybody can watch the video and anybody can see the show and anybody can hear the show. That's why I do it. Because somebody somewhere may be getting bullied. Somebody somewhere may be suicidal. Somebody somewhere may have just lost a loved one. Somebody somewhere may have just dealt with a situation where they lost a job, or they're trying to chase their dreams and they don't feel like it's working right now, or putting the work in, they don't feel like they're seeing the return yet, or they started a business and they don't know what to do next, and they don't know the different steps to take. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to figure it out. I would argue that we all are, whether or not people show it to you. We're all in our own way trying to figure things out. And so in doing that, why do I have such a vulnerable broadcast? Because without vulnerability, I'm not being authentically myself, and I'm not helping anybody, right? You go on Instagram and there's so many people that, they're smiling, they got their angle, and they're, and it's like they're in front of a boat, which could very well be their boat, very well not be their boat. They could be standing on a pier in Rhode Island somewhere saying, look at my yacht. This is my new whip. No, it's not. You're just standing in front of somebody's boat on the, you're just walked up, right? You're just on the pier standing by a boat. Anybody can do that. I can do that, right? You go and wear a mink coat and you go, look at me, fresh to death. It's not your mink coat. You took that from the check room, right? Some lady came in, checked that coat. You said, oh, that's me, so you could try it on, so you could take your Instagram photos, right? What people show you publicly is not always who they are. And I make it a point to be who I am in person and be who I am in private. I don't take on a different persona to do my show. I'm not Dan Tortora and then Dan Tortora, right? But I know people that have done that, and that's not me. I also have the same opinions on and off the air. I think being vulnerable, being genuine, being yourself, not only are you going to you can only form genuine relationships if you are genuine. You could say, oh, Dan, I got a lot of friends. Yeah, but do they know you? Do they know who you are, or do they know the persona that you take on in order for them to like you? It's the same thing in relationships. Do people know who you are, or do they think they know who you are based on whatever person you pretended to be in this moment. It's not easy to be yourself when it comes down to being vulnerable. It's not easy, right? But you have to be vulnerable. I'm vulnerable all the time. When I tell my comedy, I'm vulnerable. When I'm on my show, I'm vulnerable because I'm talking about things in my life. I'm being me. Now, not every broadcaster does that. Not every writer does that. You know, some people are very cold and shut off, right? I am supposed to be a robot. But I want you to know who I am because I don't want to be anybody else. And you have to come to a point where you really love yourself and you make the decision of, hey, I'm going to be me whether or not you like me. I'm actually going to enjoy being me even when you don't like me. Because I'm a firm believer, I just said believer, shout out Justin, but I'm a firm believer that being who you are is going to make some people not like you. And you have to know the difference between I'm working to be, like, I'm trying to be a good person and people don't like me, or I'm not being a good person. You know, you kind of just have to know yourself, because you could do nothing wrong. Be a kind human being, be an honest human being, an upfront human being, a respectful human being, a faithful human being, and people could still hate you. So then you think, well, should I not be any of these things? No, you should be those things. But people may not like that. And normally, what do they say? Sometimes your spirit disrupts their demons. Sometimes the goodness inside of you shakes up the not great stuff that's inside of them or who they've chosen to be, right? Sometimes your spirit frustrates their demons. And I felt that before. Sometimes you're wrong, and sometimes you've done nothing wrong, and it feels wrong, and it seems wrong. But being vulnerable, that's the topic for the Ingredients to Success presented by Avicoles today, because I came to terms with this last night in certain situations that I hadn't been vulnerable recently. And I had realized I hadn't been vulnerable without really realizing it before, that we must be vulnerable with each other in order to create true, long-lasting, honest, and rewarding connections. I don't think that I would have the career I have today if I wasn't vulnerable. You know, you turn a mic on, you're out there. People might hate your voice. They might hate your opinion. They might hate the way you look. They might hate the way you talk. They might hate the words you use. They might hate the topics you discuss. There's a million things that people, and I never thought about that. I thought, wow, people attack coaches and officials and players, but I never thought they would attack broadcasters. And now in the world of social media, there's like no broadcaster anywhere on the planet that can call a game as a commentator and not have somebody within 5 minutes go, I hate this person. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah, 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 blah. You know, she can't, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thrown off by that. You know, Tony Romo trending on Twitter. Watch the game, idiots. You know what I mean? It's like, you may not agree with everything that Tony Romo says, and you may have a different angle on it, but holy crap. I mean, I started my career as a DJ and a commentator. And being a DJ, I didn't have to say a ton. You know, put a little bit into the show, let you know what's coming up, play the song, right? And I did more than like the, hey, how you doing? This is Dan. We're going to play bop, hit it, done. I don't do that. I did more of a conversation, right? I made it like 60% me talking, 40% let's get into like the music, you know, like back and forth of it. I wanted to give people something to listen to that was different than just like flipping on a song and calling it a day. So, because I wanted people to feel the genuineness and the realness and the unique and originality portion of when I'm on the radio, right? And then as a commentator, yeah, I mean, some people like how you commentate and some people don't. But now it's in a world where it's just so insane, how people react to people. It's hard to be vulnerable today, which is why people fake it on social media, which is why people fake and pretend like they have good relationships when they're in public. How many couples can you say? I mean, can we all say that we know at least one couple where where at some point in our life we said the we said the phrase, "Wow, I thought they had it all together and I thought they were happy. I guess they weren't." We have all been there. Oh, that couple looked like they were so happy and now they're getting divorced. I had no idea, right? Because people don't show things. And I'm not saying you go out and you air your dirty laundry in public. I'm saying a lot of people don't allow themselves to be vulnerable, even with their friends, even with their family. And in order to get somewhere in life, I think you have to be vulnerable to an extent. So what are my ingredients to success? How do you make yourself vulnerable in a good way? Well, first and foremost, you protect yourself, you protect your privacy, you protect what you want to keep to you, because you should always keep some things to yourself, right? You should always have something that is just between you and God, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is, I'm a broadcaster, I'm vulnerable, I talk about relationships, but I don't tell people where I live. I don't tell people where I'm going. I don't say I'm on this street right now. I mean, like there's certain things you're like, yeah, why don't you keep that to yourself, right? So vulnerability, in the sense of kind of going off of that analogy, you talk about your life and you share things that you think are purposeful and have a place, but you protect. Okay, like I talk about relationships, but I never say the names of the people, right? So if I'm making a joke about something, I don't want that person to have somebody joke to them, make fun of them, attack them. I'm speaking from real life experience. I'm making a joke of it, and typically it was something that was really hard and painful. I found the comedy in it. I healed from it, and now I make jokes about it. I use the thing to make a joke because I went through it, and I have every right to use what happened to me in a positive way. So I choose to do that, but I still protect that person. That person could have been terrible in my life, but I will always protect their name, because as bad as they might have been toward me, I don't want anybody to pay them back or equal it out. And I would never want someone to be yelled at on my behalf by any stretch of the imagination, right? So there's the vulnerability of me telling personal stories, but then also protecting and keeping to myself who those people are. So I would say to you, your ingredients to success about being vulnerable is find the things you really care about, right? And realize if you're a basketball player, you got to be vulnerable in a certain extent with certain things, right? You have to know what your weaknesses are. You have to be willing to work on them. But your vulnerability is maybe going to your teammates and saying, hey, I know I'm a good three-point shooter, but I don't really drive the middle. I'm not as tall. I get scared I'm going to get blocked. And as stupid as it may sound, I don't want to get blocked. So I stay out here because I don't want to deal with, being on a poster for the wrong reasons. There could be somebody that says, hey, I can't dribble left-handed. And when teams force me to my left, I feel like a toddler. And that makes me vulnerable in the game. But you share that with your teammates. Now your teammates can help you because your teammates are supposed to have your back, right? They're supposed to be there for you. That's why you put a good team around yourself, on the court and off the court. Because without a good team, we're all doomed, right? Without a good team, we're all doomed. So, Jesus had the disciples, had the apostles. A perfect human being, God and man, still didn't do it alone. So, if Jesus didn't do it alone, how are you trying to do it alone? Being vulnerable means that you have to pick and choose, but find those people that you can, and we're going to make mistakes. We're going to trust people that aren't trustworthy. We're going to give people more chances than they deserve sometimes, or than they've earned. I don't like the word deserve. It's going to happen. But if you're not vulnerable, I don't believe you can fall in love. If you're not vulnerable, I don't think you can be a good parent. If you're not vulnerable, I don't think you could be a good comedian, because most of comedy that I laugh at is based in real life. If you're not vulnerable with somebody, I'm not saying you're going to be vulnerable with everybody. I live in a unique world where I can reach 1 million people in a minute, anywhere, because I clicked a button. And we have reached over 1 million people on one video. 1 million people that saw that video. And whatever I said within that video, 1 million people were a part of it. Or whatever I showed in that video, 1 million people were a part of it. That's the unique world that I live in, right? If I tell a joke, somebody in Nova Scotia, Serbia, Lithuania, Japan, Kansas, Texas, Nevada, they could all hear the joke at the same time and remember it forever and then say it to me. Maybe I travel to Texas one day and I'm in Houston and somebody goes, "Are you Dan Tortora? That joke was funny as heck about blah, 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 blah." Right? So I live in a different world. Most of us are not living in a world where you're in entertainment and you're on a screen pretty much every day, or you're standing on a stage every day, right? You go to a Broadway show. I think those Broadway shows are incredible, right? And it's so hard to get on it. And then what do people do? They're like, "Oh, well, this person was subpar, and this is the worst show I've ever seen, and this person just didn't, make me believe in the..." I mean, everybody's got an opinion about everything, it seems like these days. But think about that. If there's 30 Broadway shows that you've seen, you could probably number them. But is the 30th, right? If 1 is the top and 30 is the bottom, is the 30th show just a crap show? Or is it just not the best one you've seen? Do you know what I mean? I don't think that people go out on Broadway. I mean, you hear somebody go out on Broadway and they sing Idina Menzel and she's incredible. But then you go see somebody else and you go, "Oh, she was okay." But is her okay better than most? You know what I mean? It's like there's 30 NBA franchises and somebody's at the bottom every year. But look at how things have changed. The teams on the bottom are at the top now. Nobody's sitting there forever. The Utah Jazz, the Sacramento Kings, there's teams that have gotten better over time. There's teams that were good for so long that aren't good right now. Who would have thought we live in a world where LeBron James and the Lakers are, they're okay. And the Sacramento Kings are pretty dang good. Right? So, I mean, I'm a Damon Stoudemire fan. When that Portland Trailblazers team with all those talented people broke up, I thought, I don't know if the Trailblazers will ever get back anywhere again. And they've done some good stuff. So, what I'm trying to say to you is everybody's going to have an opinion. If you do anything in public, people are going to see it. In my world, it's different than in your world because if you're not doing a show, right? Or you're not in a movie or you're not in a music video, whatever. It's different, but you're still in front of people. If you work in an office of 10 people, but you all have to present for this quarter what you think is going to make you the most money, you got to stand in front of 9 other people, including your boss. And that could be nerve-wracking for people. Sometimes 9 people is like 9,000. They don't want to stand. I know people that don't want to stand in front of anybody. I knew somebody who sat right next to me in my studio, totally fine, awesome. I turned the mic on, they stopped talking. They were terrified. They were terrified. Even though there was nobody else in the room, they were terrified that somebody somewhere was listening, and what if they didn't like them? We all, at some point, carry a fear of not being liked. And some people hold on to that forever. And I think that is debilitating. Because if you hold on to your fear forever, you're caged by it. And if you're caged by your fear, you're not going to be vulnerable. And if you're not going to be vulnerable, you're not going to have meaningful relationships. You're not going to have a meaningful career. You have to be vulnerable, right? The only good business people are strong, stern, cold. But no, that's not true. Yeah, strong, but not cold-hearted business people. Those aren't good business people. They might be ruthless, but they're not building connections. I would believe that I build connections. And when you build connections, they last longer. There's more belief. There's more hope. There's more faith when you build meaningful connections, when you connect with each other in a different way. So I can't tell you that you have to be vulnerable, but I can tell you, from my opinion, that you should be. Not with everybody, not all the time. You don't have to show your cards to everyone. But I would like to hope and pray that you have somebody that you can show your cards to, your grandma, your mom, your dad, your grandfather, your brother, your sister, your significant other, your kids, your boss, your business partner, your best friend. Somebody who you can say, hey, this is who I am. Because when I meet new people, I could never say the statement if I wasn't vulnerable. The statement that I always say. I say, if you knew me like they know me, you would know what I mean by that. You know? If you know Isaac, if you know Ross, if you know Nico, if you know Miguel, if you know Rob, if you know Joe, there's people, if you know them, if you know John, if you know Steve, if you know Brandon, you would know me. If you know Enrico, they probably describe me very similarly amongst each other. They probably say the same types of words. And you don't get there without being vulnerable, right? So I would challenge you today to practice being vulnerable with God. Pray. Tell God what hurts. Tell God what you appreciate. Tell him what you don't. Tell God what you want to change. And tell God what you hope never changes. Be vulnerable with God and yourself. And once you're vulnerable with God, and you're vulnerable with you, then think about the people that you feel you can share things with. And you don't have to go crazy. Share a little bit at a time. But allow yourself to open up. Some people think the toughest thing to say is I love you. I think for some people the toughest thing to say is I like you. They're not even thinking about love. They've been hurt so much that they're afraid to tell people I like you. Their friends, they're afraid to say, hey, I really like being your friend. They're afraid to say that because they're afraid if they show emotion, then the same thing will happen to them. They show somebody emotion, somebody will take advantage of it, or they'll leave them. They're afraid of abandonment. They're afraid of people not reciprocating emotion. They're afraid of people being awkward now that you've shared a piece of yourself. You know, people are afraid to be vulnerable because nobody wants to get hurt. But I am a firm believer that without risk, there is no true reward. Without taking a chance, you're really not going to get anywhere. You can't ask God to win the lottery and not buy a ticket. So I challenge you today to practice being vulnerable by being honest with yourself, praying to God about that, and then thinking about the people in your life that you may want to show a little part of yourself. Because if you bottle it all up and you keep everything inside and the person that knows you best truly doesn't know you, that's not a healthy way to live your life. If the people that think they know you don't even know you, that's not a way to live. That's a way to be a spy, but it's not a way to live your life. If the people closest to you have no idea who you are, then what are you leaving this world with? You come in a stranger. Do you want to leave the world as if you've never been here. I would submit that we don't want to do that. And if you don't want to leave the world a stranger like you came in a stranger, you're going to have to share a little bit of yourself and be confident and fearless in who you are. We'll take a step aside for a final fast break on today's broadcast, A Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, bringing you the ingredients to success just now, proudly presented by the wonderful people at Avicoli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the road from Liverpool High School. We'll be there as we are every month with Liverpool Athletics, celebrating the Warriors. The girls basketball team continues to have more life in the postseason. They will join me with head coach Mike Wheeler and his student athletes on the pizza side this Wednesday, March 1st at 7 p.m. Come out and see and support your Liverpool Warriors in their postseason run this Wednesday, March 1st, 7 p.m. live broadcast on site, on location at Avicoli's with the Liverpool Warriors girls basketball team, brought to you by Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Many, many thanks to Avicoli's, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. And as always, drink responsibly. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this on Wake Up Call.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsicuse, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. They can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a great and fantastic morning this morning. We're so happy that you allow us to be a part of it. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When I say us, I mean me and all my fantastic partners you get to hear from, as well as my great guests that are on the shows all throughout the year. We thank you so much for your love and support on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com. All / Wake Up Call DT. It's like old Italian, right? I don't know why. That's the only thing I think of when I say Becca slash. State zit. So which means shut your mouth. Becca slash. So wake up. Let's try it again. YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all / Wake Up Call DT. I feel like you'll remember it better if I do Becca slash. Facebook.com / Live Now DT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. Once the shows go live, they jump into the archives, and we have added a bunch of broadcasts there. You can check out all of them by going to Amazon Music, Audible, as well as iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask Alexa or your Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that as well. Thank you to our incredible partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Canine Camp, Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Great Lakes Honda City, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, 317 at Montgomery. The name of the restaurant is the name of the location, 317 Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse. Pizza Man, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your College Dolphins, and it's fans out every single month. Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We're having a meeting with the Dolphins during Dolphin Time, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You have the opportunity to hang out with your Dolphins every single week. Set it and keep it. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. weekly. Dolphin Time, first and third Wednesday of each month, AD and DT, with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can get all that content by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com, which has just been updated, so you will have a plethora of broadcasts to watch and enjoy on the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. You can also subscribe for all of our Lemoyne content on our YouTube channel, which is at wakeupcalldt. For more information on your Dolphins, go to lemoynedolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Those specials happening throughout the month at different pieces that we get to share with you, like yesterday with Sean Peak, coming off of a historic weekend, the first games ever played by the Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse baseball program that just came into fruition. So the Bobcat Buzz is here for you every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, featuring men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and we'll have esports coming up, as well as some other specials that we do with coaches and student athletes. We appreciate everything we get to do with the Bobcats to tell their stories in a unique way that's never been done before. We have a really incredible broadcast coming up this coming Monday with Tay Baker, where we go beyond basketball and we talk about a lot of deep things, including changes that we hope to see in this world, the current state of America, and so many different pieces that I think you just have to be there to tune in for this coming Monday. You don't want to miss it. It's going to air Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on March 6th, and you definitely don't want to miss that. So a lot of great stuff coming up. You can get all of our Bobcat content by going to the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Just been updated. Ton of specials on there. You can spend hours enjoying all of that. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com with our content available to you now. And like I said, all new stuff updated on there for you. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of our Bobcat Buzz content on YouTube by searching at Wake Up Call DT. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. I want to thank you for being a part of today's show. I am so honored and privileged to have the guests that we've had. The first 2 days, essentially the last 2 days of February, we're ending February on such a massively high note. And we're going to start off March even more incredible. We're going to keep pushing the term, folks, and we're going to keep doing amazing things. I am ecstatic. The way we got to end February, I am so honored to think about the people. We had Adam Zakowski in a special dolphin dive with the Lemoyne men's and women's swimming and diving head coach, who was an assistant on the program and also a student athlete there. After having Adam on the show, we had the opportunity to feature Tammy Reese, whose team just won an A-10 regular season championship. Fantastic person and coach. University of Rhode Island Rams women's basketball. We had Gina Castelli, an executive coach on the University at Albany Great Danes women's basketball team, who just won a regular season championship in the America East. And a fantastic person beyond that, and spent almost a decade with the Lemoyne Dolphins and won the only NE10 tournament for women's basketball at Lemoyne in their history after 23 years of being in existence. Hoisted that trophy and got to spin that net, and I got to get some awesome videos. And one of my favorite moments ever in the history of sports in my life, I cried and I got to hug Gina on the court, and that hug will always mean something to me because she's just a wonderful person and a sweetheart. So big shout out to Gina and the Bobcat Buzz that I just mentioned with Sean Peak, first ever head coach in the history of Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse baseball, that finally, after all this time, after a year at least of preparation, to see the games be played, win, lose, or draw, to be out on the field and know that this is your team, you are making history. There are so few people in this world that get to say, I was the first coach of a program that never existed before, and I was there in that moment as the inaugural head coach in the inaugural season at the inaugural game. And Sean Peak gets to say that. And we got to do a special Bobcat Buzz with him for that. And then today we got to speak with Jason Leone, one of the best coaches of any sport in the state of New York. A person that wears Central and Upstate New York proudly on his chest and has brought Oswego to new heights. A team that is hosting the NCAA tournament round of 64 and 32. A team that won back-to-back SUNYAC titles. And a team that continuously has gotten itself to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament in the nation of over 400 teams vying for 64 spots, and then from those 64 spots, getting to 16 of over 400 that are competing of over 40 different conferences. Be Coach of the Year numerous times, and to now have over 300 career wins, and again, like so many on the show, a better person on top of all of that. If you think he's a fantastic coach, we'll meet him as an individual and have some lunch with him at Mother's Cupboard. He's a game changer. Another game changer, Bethann Shapiro-Ord, Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball, getting ready tomorrow to play their playoff game at Maine who they just faced and lost to by 5 on the road. They know what they need to do, and now they got to close it out. Limit those second chance opportunities, play good defense, and move on to the next round. The America East starts this Wednesday, March 1st, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Binghamton at Maine will be that game. Very excited about that, and excited for Bethann. Really happy that Jaden Welts joined us, as well as Danae Bowman, and that we had an incredible, smiles abound conversation with the Binghamton Bearcats, a team that I love and a team that I really hope I get to do more with, and a university that I hope I get to do more with. So, everything happens on God's time, and things that are meant to be will be, right? You do everything you can. You go as far as you can, and you let God, from there, take the stuff you can't control. So God bless on that. The ingredients to success from the incredible people at Avicoli's, led by John, who's a mastermind of wonder. Never stops working. Always out there. Apron on. Flour all over it because he's cooking like crazy. Incredible human being, incredible staff, incredible place, incredible food, incredible to our community for an incredible decade upon decade. Thank you, Avicoli's. 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. Head there for lunch. There it is right there. That pizza don't make you hungry. I don't think anything will. So find your way over to Avicoli's. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. Find your way there as well. And as always, God bless. No stress. Do your best. I'll talk with you soon, and I hope you have a great day.